Though my head is relatively clear, I decide to go for a little walk. I've been back to the scene of my clash with Harry a few times now, mainly because I hope that I might get to speak to James again, or maybe just have a sign that he's still here, that he's okay. I think of him often, and I believe he was there with me that night, a lingering presence that pushed me to win, to not give up. I still can't help but wonder what he thinks of Harry now. Was he really there in that cell, talking to him on that day? Or maybe he's finally passed over from whatever in between he was stuck in. I hope. It's summer in Lunaris now, but there's still a chill in the air, and the grass is crisp beneath my boots as I walk into the clearing. For summer, everything looks quite desolate and dead. Maybe it's just the passing of seasons, but it feels like life is breathing back into this small town. Everything feels easier. Harry was taken to Therius not long after we told him of his fate. I felt a strange sense of unease watching him leave, wondering how deep the corruption ran within our ranks, but it feels good to not have his presence lingering right beneath our feet. I'm not sure what they'll decide to do with him, but I did my part, and I'll offer more information if required. The thought of seeing him again makes my stomach churn. I take a deep breath, crouching down to press my fingers to the still scorched earth. Apparently, things don't grow back if they've been touched by August magic. I decide that this is the last time I'll come here. It feels freeing. On my way to visit Ezra, I decide to stop by the ABEC to check in with our favorite creepy duo. Aurora has laid low since Harry's downfall. She's probably thoroughly disappointed that I didn't succumb to his nefarious plan and turn into an unidentifiable monstrosity. Probably. Maybe she would have thought it charming, or maybe even wanted to date me. Not at all strange or unnerving. I walk toward the days, the air a little warmer here than I remember, the sun shining through the cracked windows and illuminating the lectern. There's St. Amaros, as coy as ever, and quite obviously making a point to avoid my eye contact in the hope that I'll not notice him, I assume. Hunter Everflight. Hello, Amaros. He takes a deep breath and steps into the aisle, his hands clasped politely in front of him. Can I help you with anything? I shrug, not really knowing why I'm here. I was just passing by. Is Aurora about? His mouth twists, his pale blue eyes darting to the side. Considering his sister is so very good at not giving anything away, Amaros has absolutely no subtlety to him. She left. Left? Left where? He tilts his head, making eye contact. Left Lunaris. I see. Any particular reason? He sighs and gestures for me to follow him. We sit in the pews in the first row, and Amaros leans back, tipping his head and gazing up at the domed ceiling. I imagine it was so beautiful here once. Then he sits up, fixing his jacket and frowning, twisting slightly to face me. I've dutifully followed my sister my whole life, you know. We lost our parents to vampires at 14, but even before then, Aurora was fascinated by creatures. She would sneak out at night, seek them out in the graveyard behind our estate. I began to lose count of how many times I saved her, always dragging her out of the way of claws or teeth. They didn't try to kill you, your parents? He shakes his head, looking down at his hands where they rest in his lap. They didn't get the chance. Hunters came not long after they rose from their graves. Aurora was there. She saw everything. She truly believed that they wouldn't have harmed her. So that's where Aurora's resentment for us comes from. I almost pity her. Almost. You never seem to be on board with her beliefs. Why continue to follow her? Amaros laughs. It's a pleasant sound, and he looks like a different man, lighter somehow. I've never had anyone else. I love my sister Ethan. Despite her eccentricities, I've never wanted any harm to come to her. I am a patient man, and I would follow her to hell and back if required. But? He laughs again. Yes, but I've always wanted my own life. I have that now, with Elaine. His pale cheeks turn bright pink the second her name leaves his lips. It's adorable. You're in love with her. He nods, his mouth curling into a soft smile. I'm going to ask her to marry me. I'm going to ask Satan's daughter to marry me. I told my sister, and she flopped down. I can't help but laugh, but I feel impossibly rude the second the noise erupts. I cover my mouth with my hand, but Amaros is laughing too. You'd think she'd be thrilled to have the Princess of Hell as her sister-in-law, wouldn't you? You would, yes. But then my sister's always been full of surprises. She'll be back, though. We've never been apart for more than a day or two at most. I think she's just reassessing her life and her choices. Hopefully. Well, I'm happy for you, Amaros. Just please don't start trying to terrorize our nice, newly peaceful town, okay? He blushes again, nodding as if I wasn't joking. Well, I kind of wasn't, I guess. I swear it. We both turn at the sound of the entrance door creaking up, and there stands Elaine, silhouetted by sunlight. I look at Amaros and the way his face lights up, at the way he quickly stands and brushes non-existent dust from his trousers and tucks his blonde hair behind the ears. Ethan, it's lovely to see you. The demon offers me a courtesy and smiles sweetly, her brown eyes flickering curiously between Amaros and me. She must sense his mood and place a delicate hand upon his arm, which he immediately covers with his own. Where's the Romera army? Well... I decide that's my cue to give them some privacy. The news that Aurora have fled will be startling, but I imagine his proposition will be even more so. I have to go. I need to prepare for tonight. Amaros nods in silent thanks. I wish you well. Do stop by any time, won't you? An olive branch, maybe even the start of a new relationship between us and whatever is left of the ABEC. I'm interested to see what it will become under Amaros' lead. Or if it will become anything at all. Goodbye and congratulations. Omen tells me that you're transforming later. New beginnings and forms are always wonderful. I stifle a smile, assuming that both she and Omen still have the wrong idea about what this ceremony entails. I do hope he isn't disappointed when I don't sprout wings. That would be neat. Thank you, Elaine. Amaros. I feel their eyes upon me as I leave, though for the very first time, I feel it isn't out of scrutiny, but likely for the polite peace they need before excited anxiety blooms between two lovers. When I step into the street, Omen immediately appears, whipping around to face me, his movement so sharp I have to step back and raise my hands warily. I've no doubt he would never hurt me, but still. Not that it takes words or even my senses to see the demon prince as well rattled. There's a sharp pinch to Omen's brow and flame wisp trail at his hair. Noticing me staring, though, some of that fades away. Omen smiles sheepishly. Sorry. A respectful distance away, Alkar shorts and straightens from where he's been leaning against the wall. He gingerly pats Omen on the back. It's fine. Are you alright? Part of me wonders if it's another earth-shattering problem about to roar into town, and I'm definitely not fucking ready for that. It would certainly be poetic to have my promotion crashed right here, right now, but I don't want to get caught up between the next big thing and August rage if the ceremony is postponed. My unease must have been evident, because even as Omen opens his mouth to answer, Alkar laughs. Elaine's getting married. What? Amaros plans to do that thing mortals do. Propose? Yes. Oh, that. It occurs to me that maybe Elaine had been speaking to Omen about it before she arrived at the ABEC. Clearly, he's not half as excited about the prospect as either Amaros or his sister. Omen wrings his hands together, and I'm not sure how I feel when I realize he's more worried than angry. She says yes. This is a very exciting thing for her, I'm sure, to enter sort of contract with a human. But humans are not good with promises. Not to say you're not, Ethan. Behind him, Alkar rolls his eyes fondly and shakes his head. He places his hand on Omen's shoulder, reassuringly, and I do the same on the other shoulder. Elaine is in good hands, Omen. Good, careful hands and heart. I haven't forgotten the sliver of her true power she permitted me to glimpse in the ABEC that day, but I have a feeling Amaros knows exactly what he's dealing with. Amaros is no fool and would never undervalue an oath or a pact. In fact, I'm sure he's well aware of what he's getting into. Trust me, I've interrogated him enough to know. Besides, it would be unlike Elaine to involve herself with someone who is even remotely ignorant, right? Omen sighs, but then he gives me an inquisitive look. You and Elaine have talked much, then? In a sense. She had thoughts that she shared with me. Of course. It isn't her I worry for. She's capable and, as you said, not likely to care about ignorant mortals. I nod sagely, though, if I must confess, it's nice to know that after everything Omen seems genuinely concerned for Amaros' well-being. That he seems genuinely concerned for humans. Period. I'm sorry, it's a bit shaken. He glances at Alkar uncertainly, who purses his lips in thought. Big shocker. Yes. But don't mistake my alarm for unhappiness or disapproving. Maybe this is the best way. Elaine and I shared many things. Our histories, our lives, even our souls once. But it's rare for her to engage with mortals, as I do. Omen frowns at me, inclining his head. But I take it you'll watch them. Of course. There's little use lying about it. Shrewd as it is to say, I'm glad that the Princess of Hells decided to pick a man right under our eyes to involve herself with. But is Omen leaving? And not just in our own defense. We live by our blades, but living is so much more than killing and dying. This peace we forged together, I want to preserve it. Ethan will be watching all of us. And honestly, I think you've got your work cut out for you, Lieutenant General. I'm not a Lieutenant General yet.
In a few hours you will be. And I'm glad it's you. After all, imagine what it would have been like if Piper got it instead.
Nice. Now that's a thought. Though, I'm sure you're glad that isn't the case. She'd have done fine. She cares about this town and the stupid problems more than she makes it sound like. And we'd all have been here anyway, huh? Alkar nudges Omen, and the demon blinks and shudders as though waking from a dream. There's a shift in the air around him that I notice. The same sense of movement like when somebody snatches back their head. You were talking with Elaine? Yes. He sighs and wrings his hands together again. She wants my thought on things. I need to talk to her as soon as possible. Immediately. He stares into the distance, then clasps his hands over Alkar's, still resting it on his shoulders after all this time, and slips away. I will see you later, okay? sketches a short but graceful bow, then walks briskly to the nearest alleyway. I shake my head as his presence retreats with supernatural speed. As soon as he's gone, Alkar chuckles. Bet just anything, Elaine's going to rope him into helping her pick color themes for the wedding. Good for her. And my entire department will have a meeting tomorrow on how to handle this goddamn beloved, miraculous town chock full with wonders such as not one, but two powerful demons among other things, one of whom is going to get married to a human. One that once helmed a cult against our kind. Fucking Lunaris. I can imagine how not happy August will be to hear about it, but what can you do? What can a Lieutenant General do, indeed? I look up to see Alkar watching me. His smirk only widens into a grin, though, and he inclines his head, wolf ears twitching. Get going before Wilhelmheim tears down half the city looking for you for being 10 minutes late. Oh, most certainly. See you later, Alkar. Aye aye, General. Alkar walks backward until he too disappears the way Omen went, giving me one last shit-eating grin and that ever-endearing half-ass wave. Ezra's shop is busy, a line of townsfolk impatiently waiting outside. I decide to sneak in the back door to avoid unavoidable conversations. How do you avoid unavoidable conversations? In the kitchen, I find Finn and Alkar. Arm wrestling? I literally just saw you. Alkar quickly turns his head and frowns at me.
And what about it?
How did you get here so fast? He ignores me, concentrating too hard on making sure Finn doesn't snap his arm off, I assume. I roll my eyes and pull up a chair, smirking as I watch Alkar's arm shake. Finn quirks one of those dark brows at me and winks. He always insists I use my prosthetic. Silly of him, don't you think? Alkar growls, his face turning beet red with the effort. Shut up, Mosquito Man. I'd win in a second if you use your normal one. Finn and I share a knowing look seconds before he slams Alkar's fist into the table, the fine china upon it clicking loudly with the force. There might even be a dent in the wood from the impact. 4-0. Wanna go again? He wiggles his iron fingers, the magic in them flickering teasingly. Then Ezra appears, his arms folded across his chest, and I don't think I've ever seen Finn move so fast.
Hey, what have I told you two about doing that in here?
Go ruin the furniture in the tavern.
They won't let us.
Oh. Oh really? I do wonder why. He pointedly looks at the ridge in his lovely little table, then back between the wolf and the vampire.
No more. Don't you have some important vampire business to attend to? And Alkar, well, I don't know what you could possibly have to do, actually.
Alkar huffs and puffs, sliding down the chair and crossing his arms. I look over at Ezra and see how hard he's trying to stop himself from smiling as Finn and Alkar begin to bicker. He's so fond of them, of all of us and this weird group of misfits and weirdos and shit. He has the patience of the saint. I kick Finn under the table and he immediately shuts up, pouting at me as I address Ezra. Busy today? He nods, looking frazzled. Ridiculously so. I say I'm closing an hour early and everyone thinks I'm going to skip town. I should probably get back. Do you need help? He quickly shakes his head. No, you have enough going on today. Go, I'll be fine. He then throws Finn and Alkar a very pointed glare, and they both wither under his emerald gaze, immediately shutting up. The lavender curtains parts, and he's gone. I turn to look at them and laugh at the pitiful sight. Don't you two have somewhere better to be? They look at each other and shrug at exactly the same time, Alkar prodding Finn's chest with his thumb.
Mr. Walking Combustible here can't go to the wolf until the sun goes down, can he?
True.
So no. Clearly I need better friends. Less flammable ones who don't ruin my drinking time.
Finn sweats him away and growls, which only seems to egg Alkar on.
I actually do have somewhere I need to be, so sorry, but I can't babysit you.
Go on and find your demon and bug him instead.
You're as boring as you are old.
Stay swishes behind him as he makes for the door, sending Finn scrambling into the corner, away from the sunlight that streams through the gap. They have all such cute dynamics. Later. Pred. I tilt my head and grin at him. Do you actually have somewhere to be? He smiles, waiting for the door to close before he comes close and leans over me, wrapping his arms around me. He presses a kiss to the top of my head. Nope. Just going to go home and get ready for your special moment. I hum, pleased as I think about how excited I am to see him all dressed up. And when it's over, his lips find my ears, his breath cool. Then I'll finally have you all to myself again. After Ezra's, I headed home to get changed into my new uniform. I've never had to wear one before, and I suppose I don't now, but I want to show people who I am and what I do, to show them that I'm here to protect them, and that I'm proud to do so. August decided to redesign our sash. It's blue to represent stability, trust, wisdom, and most importantly, loyalty. So, as I walk through Lunaris, bathed in black, gold, and sky blue, I feel a sense of renewal, of change, and pride. How fitting, pride. There are people sitting up outside headquarters for the ceremony. Hunters and enforcers pour out of every room as I head down the corridor toward August's office, all of them with smiles pasted on their faces.